You know what the elephant in the room is? Jokic. Right? Now, look, there's a reason we didn't pay that much attention to the Nuggets when they swept the Lakers. We do that even with the Heat today. Let's just be honest. Teams lose, and we do the obit and what's going to happen. And, I mean, when the Warriors lost to the Lakers, we did the same thing. We did. We did the exact same thing. We're like, Bob Myers, is he going to step down? Yes, he just stepped down. What happens with Draymond Green? Well, Steve Kerr said there is no championship window without Draymond Green. Feels like Draymond's going to be back, right? No one said, hey, there's no championship window without Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole's gone. But we did it when anyone loses, we talk about the dearly departed. TNT has them going fishing, and then we kind of dissect the body, if you will. But the other part to it, and the Nuggets continuing calls for respect and attention, it's not that they don't have respect. It's that they haven't gotten a lot of attention. Now, part of it is it's Mountain Time Zone. I don't know, Mountain Time Zone. Well, Mountain Time Zone is kind of money, right? Kind of money. Like, if you watch a game in California that starts at 7, it's done at 10. There, it's like 6. In the start of an NBA game, like, wait, you're done at 9? That's perfect. First quarter of a regular season NBA game, can't watch it anyway. All that matters is the fourth quarter, and that's on at 8 o'clock when it's the Nuggets. And, oh, yeah, by the way, if you're East Coast, it's like, all right, if it's a 7 o'clock start time, it's 9 o'clock. You're done before midnight. It's not as bad as when it's West Coast. A little less. But Mountain Time Zone, no one ever says, like, let's focus on what people in the Mountain Time Zone think. They're at best, the second most popular team in the city of Denver. They've never won a championship. They've never been to an NBA Finals. They've had a multitude of jerseys. I like the old ones with the old Denver skyline, the old Dan Issel, Alex English ones, whatever. Okay. It's not for lack of stars. Of course, they had Carmelo, and then they had AI for a little bit with Carmelo. It's just they're one of those teams. You're like, yeah, okay. But I believe that a good portion of people, even people in sports, they didn't watch the Nuggets play in the regular season. They haven't seen a Nuggets game since really the bubble. And the only reason you watched them in the bubble was because you had to. There's nothing else on. Right? We were literally a secured audience. I can quote somebody. Remember Yakov Smirnoff? Remember the comedian Yakov Smirnoff? Is he still alive? Is he still playing in Branson? There's like the Yakov Smirnoff Theater in Branson, Missouri. He used to do all this like Russian Soviet humor. You know the thing about comedy in Russia? You have a secured audience. They're not going anywhere, right? It was amazing. It was like one joke that his entire bit was about. Yes, Iowa Sam. Do you have some Yakov Smirnoff? You're leaning into the microphone like you have Yakov Smirnoff information. I believe there's a theater named after him, and I think he still performs in Branson, Missouri.
He's still around.
Does he have the Yakov Smirnoff Theater?
I'm sure he does. He's 72.
72. Yakov Smirnoff. Anyway, I think as Krolov said, there's an elephant in the room. It's that no matter how much we like, love, adore, and want to say great things about Jokic, right? He's got brothers, like they're all inked up. I was in Huntington Beach the other day. If you've ever been to Huntington Beach, California, you're like, outside of WWE, I think the place that the Jokic brothers belong the most is Huntington Beach, Main Street, with like a cutoff T-shirt, all inked up, all yoked up. Like Huntington Beach is the MMA capital of California, and there's lots of dudes. I went to get my car, and there was a really nice white Tundra it had a lift kit on it, black on black wheels, and it was like inches away from my door because it was parked, on the double whites, like even well over the double whites. And I just thought to myself, I was like, pickup truck in Huntington Beach with an HB logo, raised, lift kit, parked not in the actual parking lane. Like, that says Huntington Beach to me. The Jokic boys belong in Huntington Beach, if not in MMA or UFC. I mean, or even WWE. Like, they could be main characters or bad guys in a Bond movie too. They could do that as well. Definitely look like some goons. That is not the family I want to run into and talk ish about their background or their brother's ability to play basketball. But I wrote down a list, and I don't do the list that I know others who contribute to this show do. The top 10 players in the NBA, the top 20 players of these are about the top 10 dudes in the league right now. Okay? In no particular order. Embiid, I guess maybe with particular order, he won the MVP. Joker's won the past 2 MVPs before that, and Giannis won the past 2 before that. So they're 3 of the top 5. Is that okay? And then I put Luka there as well. All right. Put Luka there. I'd still have Kevin Durant there. I'd have Anthony Davis there. I'd put Steph in that mix. Personally, I think Jalen Brunson, he received more MVP votes than anybody not on this list. Jason Tatum. I'm not a huge Tatum guy, but he is a scoring machine and a versatile defender. And then the best player of the last month and a half of the season was Kawhi Leonard. He's won 2 finals MVPs, but yes, he does keep getting hurt. That does happen. And obviously, somebody's going to like LeBron, like even LeBron kind of admitted, like, I'm better than 90, 95% of the league. Okay, I'll go with that. I'll go with 90. But he's not a top 10 player anymore. He's just not. But he's in the discussion. But if I said that's the 10 best and we're willing to trade out 1 or 2, are we okay with that? Right? Okay. The guys you wouldn't trade out would be Embiid, Joker, Giannis, Luka. You would not trade them out. They are in any discussion of the 10 best players in the league. They're all foreign born. Okay? And what happens is, what's it called when is it a xenophobe? Is it a xenophobe? Right? A xenophobe when you're afraid of foreign things. I am not a xenophobe. Right? I love French toast and French fries just like any good American. I'm kidding. Like, I had somebody who said the other day, like, don't you just want to just travel? Like, yeah, actually, why not? Why haven't I not traveled more? Every time I go, I'm like, man, why don't I do this more? And then, of course, every time I come back, I'm like, this is the best country ever. But I'm not afraid to mention that foreign basketball is awesome, different, unique. I've actually played in 12 different countries, played professionally for 3 different organizations in 3 different countries. Last summer, I spent a month coaching and living in Israel. So this is not me being a xenophobe, but we kind of are as a country. Right? We have this weird sort of thing where we all came from somewhere else, but like, yeah, now once you're in, like it's going to be a hard sale on the American public that a team in the time zone that we care the least about, that has done very, very little, has the best player who we didn't see play in high school. We didn't see play in college. Right? Many of us haven't seen him play at all this year. Like, who is this guy? And he's kind of awkward. He's fun. He's talented. By no means is this me taking away from who he is. Like, he's awesome. And by the way, Serbian players, like my first professional team I was supposed to play with out of college was training in Israel. This is a complicated one. Training in Italy. Supposed to play in St. Petersburg, Russia, and was coached by a Yugoslavian coach. And I can tell you unequivocally, they do not like little dudes. Like all their point guards, all their centers, everybody's 6'7" and above, and they can all handle, pass, dribble, shoot, whatever. And that's really what he plays like. He just happens to be big and have to play center, but he's really like a point guard. He's incredible. But this is one of those deals where you get away from, we think this is an American sport. A Canadian invented it, but that's okay. And many of the things that we dismiss as not important, like playing in college basketball, it builds up kind of a following. Right? Why is Steph Curry so incredibly popular? Well, one, by any estimation, he's as good a dude as there's ever been as a superstar. I think that helps. But we saw him play for Davidson. Then there's the videos of him with his dad when his dad was a player. Then we've seen him grow in this meteoric rise or whatever. Right? LeBron James, we've known him since he was 17 years old, and he jumped off the screen playing in a high school game at UCLA. Like, we've known him. There's a relationship there. He's one of us, right? We know about his mom, Gloria, and how he was raised without a dad, and then his friends, and he brought him with him. Like, we know them. We don't know who Jokic is. We know anything about him. He literally just arrived. You're like, well, he did, Doug. You haven't paid attention. He won the last 2 MVPs. Like, dude, nobody on the street knows that. They have zero clue. Wait till you see the reaction after game one. Like, he dominates with a triple-double. People go like, man, I never seen some stuff like that. Like, that's what he does every game. He's really, really good. Well, he shoots these 1-foot shots. I know. The Krolov's elephant in the room is, I don't think we're ready to turn over the American game to the foreign-born player, even though we lost it a while back. Right? Embiid, Joker, Giannis, Luka. Not born here, not raised here. Right? Embiid at least played in college for a year. Remember, didn't play in the NCAA tournament. But I think that one of the things lacking in the next wave of the NBA, which, look, dude, this is coming. Right? You have two unbelievably talented, unbelievably well-liked. And look, there's always going to be a polarizing nature to anybody. I think LeBron's more polarizing than Steph is. But LeBron's got like a year left, probably a second one on some level to try and, to play with Bronny, do the old Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. thing. Steph, did you know Steph Curry's 35 years old? Right? Just because he runs around and plays like a kid, just like at some point there's a limit there, and he's going to shut it down. The next wave, not necessarily American-born players. And let's see how the world reacts to Mountain Time Zone, Denver Nuggets. Nobody watches them in the regular season. No real history of success. Taking on an 8 seed in the finals.